We're rolling with Dr. K. Dr. K. 100 shades of diversibilities every day. We're rolling with Dr. K. Oh, Dr. K. 100 shades of diversibilities every day. Ah, yeah, we're rolling.
I still get excited every time it plays. Yeah, I do. Thank you to my cousin, Pat Saunders, down there in Atlanta. Thank you to her for the theme music. And kudos to her. She has already voted. She's in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a swing state. Yes, so you know if you're in a swing state, you need to vote. You can vote all the way through tomorrow at 8 o'clock. But good afternoon. If you are watching via GRTV 25, today is Monday. Oh my God, November 4th. We have exactly 1 day and 5 hours until the election. And we have one more show to go on tomorrow. We have done 12, well, it will be after tomorrow, 12 Get Out the Vote shows, consecutive days. Every day but Sunday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you have no excuse as to not have voted or not knowing information. We have talked about everything. We have given you answers to all of your excuses. And now we're down to the final straw that's going to break the camel's back, which is Project 25. 2025, which talks about our reproductive freedoms. And we got friends and neighbors, please put your hands together for Ms. Shanay Watson-Whitaker, Director of Reproductive Freedom for All Michigan campaign. Woo-hoo! Yes, thank you, Pat Wembley, for tuning in on today. So, all right, let's get to it. You there?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry about that. Thank you, Dr. Kimberly. My name is Shanay Watson-Whitaker. I am the Director of Michigan Campaigns with Reproductive Freedom for All, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to folks the day before Election Day when we have an opportunity here to make big change. We talk about reproductive freedom. We talk about Project 2025 and what does that mean? I know in 2022, many of you went out and signed petitions, donated, volunteered to protect reproductive freedom in Michigan in passing Proposal 3. I thank you all for that, but the work isn't done. If we're looking at what's going on in the election, you hear a lot of discussion about what Project 2025 is. It's a 900+ page document. It's a manifesto, if you don't mind me saying, that moves government in a certain way. For me and for my organization and for the people that we are members that we represent, it means getting rid of the Comstock Act, which is a bill from 1873. So that's around Reconstruction. Mm-hmm. That basically makes it illegal to transport any material or prescription pills related to abortion. If folks understand, 80% of abortions in America are by pill. So that happens. That means people are restricted from their reproductive freedoms. That means it supersedes what we did in 2022 when 56.7, almost 57% of Michiganders voted for reproductive freedom. It also takes us back to a time where folks are dying from lack of access to reproductive care. I don't know if folks have been paying attention. We're hearing about cases in Georgia and in Texas of women and a teenage girl who died because doctors turned them away or couldn't assist them because they were afraid that their hands were tied when it came to getting assistance for folks. And what folks don't understand is you hear a term called DNC, that's actually an abortion. So if you've had a miscarriage, I've had a miscarriage, and you're going through it, and the doctors know that they have to do something called a scraping, so you're okay and you don't get infection. These women like Candy Thurman and Candy Miller and Nicole Thurman lost their lives because they were denied access to care. There was also a report about a teenager from Texas who was far along in her pregnancy, and she died after being turned away multiple times for medical assistance, because doctors were afraid to treat her because of fear of persecution and prosecution. So we have something of this plan that would restrict things that 80%, 88 out of 10 Americans want for folks when it comes to reproductive freedom. And it's our time right now to turn away from it. We have an opportunity to take back our rights here. We have an opportunity to restore reproductive freedom, restore Roe for the nation. And people are looking to Michigan, especially with all of those commercials, because they know that what happens here in Michigan can determine the fate of millions of Americans. So that's what's at stake. We have an opportunity to protect something that we all voted for, or we will lose that opportunity and lose that right because we have people that are against reproductive freedom, that are anti-abortion extremists, that want to interfere with what we do and what we choose to do, or what happens between us and our doctors and our healthcare. So that's what's at stake for folks. And I'm hoping people vote accordingly, vote in respect of what we did here in Michigan, and to continue to protect reproductive freedom, not just for ourselves, but for the Amber Nicole Thurmans and the Candy Millers of this world. Thank you.
Yes, thank you to Kathy Harris. I got to give her a double shout out because she made the connect, and she says, hello, Dr. Kimberly and my sister Shanay. And we just got done talking to you or about you, Pat Sanders. This is the wonderful, wonderful person who did the intro to the show. We love you, love you, love you. And hello, Jessica. Yes, I will see you Thursday night. Thursday is Disability Advocates of Kent County's Invest in Ability. That's why I'm here. I appreciate it. The VA paid for me to participate with Disability Advocates of Kent County for 24 months. And when I graduated, and that was almost 11 years ago. Wow. So we've been hanging out, rolling around for a long time. Oh, she says, yes, I appreciate you so much. I think that we need to get some clarity because it was an issue in 2022 that we were talking about being baby killers. We want everybody to have an abortion. That is not all that reproductive health entails. And I think they just got stuck on one piece, because I was running for office for state representative, House District number 79 in 2022. And to hear the, oh my gosh, gut-wrenching stories from these women, and many of them called and said, hey, where do you stand on this issue? Because that determines whether or not I'm going to vote for you or not. And I said, well, I'm pro-life. I have 8 grandchildren. So I am definitely pro-life, but I believe that every woman has the right to make a decision if whatever is necessary for her. It should be between her, her God, her doctor, and her tribe, is what I believe. So, it's not saying that I want, if you need an abortion, I don't agree with it being, used for birth control. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the morning after pill being used as a form of birth control either. but everybody at some point in time has had some sort of scare, and maybe it wasn't the right time for them. And, they needed the pill the morning after just in case. Maybe the condom broke, maybe the phone wasn't enough. There's a plethora of reasons, the IUD slips out, whatever their form of birth control is or was, and it failed them. And now they need, to have this. Or they like to talk about not even for rape. Who are we to say that somebody has to be reminded of such a trauma? And what do you explain to that child? Where's my dad? They don't think about the after piece and the effects, especially if you're married, you have other children, and then you have this child that's not daddy's. We can come up with so many different scenarios that we don't have to be so tunnel vision when it comes to reproductive health.
Agreed. Let me tell you something. When it comes to abortion and access and what we did in 2022, one, I just want to say I was the deputy campaign manager for Proposal 3 that passed in 2022. And number two, I'm also a person of faith. I am saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized. Raised in exactly, Church of God in Christ. I'm very much so. And I am unapologetic. What I also remind people is that your folks, one person's story is not another person's story. I've heard from folks from all over the state in 2022 that would share their personal stories. Some of them were very tragic. Some folks had miscarriages and they had to have an abortion. They didn't know it was abortion until it was said to them that this is what it was called. There are people like me. I grew up in a very, 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 very harsh environment. I tell my personal story because I want people to understand that who we were trying to help, who we were trying to protect. I'm originally from New York City. I came out here in 2008. Before I came out here in 2008, I was a Black girl from the Bronx, New York, who lived with her grandmother, who was a praying grandmother, who was the mother of the church, missionary board, usher board. We went to church 3 times a day. On Sunday, we would travel with the church. We sang in the choir, things like it was unapologetic. We are unapologetically Christian, and we wear it on our sleeve. So when my grandmother died, our world came to an end. My mom, she was on drugs. She was on crack cocaine. She's also bipolar and schizophrenic. When she died, I was 13, going off 14 years old. When I turned 15, my mom stopped going to work because of her issues. I took on, as her oldest child, the responsibility of paying the bills, of getting my 4 other siblings to and from school, making sure that we're all eating. Remember, she's bipolar schizophrenic, so her mind ain't right. She ain't there. And making sure that I go to class at the same time. So when all of this is happening, I could not maintain. As a 14 going on 15-year-old girl, I can't maintain that because I'm trying to get myself together. I was an A student. I was in advanced placement classes and everything. I'm a Black girl who can speak Spanish like a native speaker. So all of that fell apart and we had to move to a shelter in the Bronx. I experienced sexual assault in that shelter. My sister got shot in that shelter. She still has a bullet in her head because of that. I've experienced people committing suicide in front of me, gun violence, you name it, I've experienced it. And I happened to get pregnant in that circumstance. Remember, again, my folks are Christian, very devoted, Church, God in Christ, Baptist, I mean it. My other side of the family is one side is from the Caribbean, the other side is from the South, very strict. I didn't have anyone to turn to in this situation. Mind you, I'm living in a shelter with rats and roaches, drugs, everything. I was born and, like I said, raised in the church. So I'm experiencing all of this that I've never seen before in my life. And I got pregnant because I was looking for love. So I had to make this decision at 17. Do I keep this pregnancy, raise a child in a shelter system that's designed to fail me, while going to school at the same time, while making sure that my younger siblings are doing what they need to do, while while handling business, while dealing with a parent that's on drugs, while dealing with a father who wasn't around. He's sitting in the box here, God bless him. All of that. And I had to make that decision. I made that decision to terminate my pregnancy because I could not do it. I would not do it. I would not go through it. The trauma that I experienced living there, I don't ever want anybody to experience. So having to make that decision for myself, and at 17 years old with no parental guidance, was the hardest decision of my life. It's something I don't regret. Why? Because now I've raised 6 kids. I have 2 grandkids. I have a husband. I live and own my own home. Luckily, we have another home that we own. All of my kids are college educated, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a director of an organization. So I thank God for me having that ability to make that choice and that decision. I've raised my children and they're beautiful people. 5 out of 6 are in college or in graduate school. 1 is in the United States Navy, serving this country honorably.
Well, Navy. That's me.
So,
I'm Navy.
Yes, and my twin is Navy too. So that's why we do this work. I don't want another Shanay to go through what I went through.
Well,
I don't want another person to experience that kind of neglect and poverty and destruction that I went through. So I made that decision as a kid. Remember, I am a child, not an adult, a child making that decision. You know what I'm saying? And I praise God where I'm at right now. And I thank God every day that I made that decision because I've been able to touch somebody else's life. And I've not just raised my kids, I've mentored many people that have run for office in this state, that are leaders in this state, that I've helped teach them how to organize, how to talk to folks, how to be good stewards of this earth. And that organizing tree has been very successful since I've been here. So I thank God that I had that choice. And I wanted to make sure Michiganders had that choice. Like I said before, not all of us had, the Ozzie, the Harriet thing, Ozzie and Harriet, the Waltons and all that. Now I'm showing my age, you know what I'm saying? And the Brady Bunch, we ain't have all of that. So, you know what I'm saying? I want folks to have that choice. And I thank God I did it, but it's still on the line here in 2024. There are still people that want to overturn the decisions that voters made here in this state. Now, folks, they talk about Project 2025 and they talk about states' rights. And when I think about states' rights, I think about my folks who came up from Arkansas, Hazen Prairie, Arkansas, to New York, to Detroit, to Chicago, because they couldn't vote. You know what I'm saying? When I think about states' rights, I think about slavery. So when you hear states' rights, that's a dog whistle to me. And I don't want to go back to that. So yeah, I want all of those rights protected for everybody in this country. I don't want to go back to a time where you got to have you're protected in one state, and then if you walk into another state, you're in trouble. I don't want to go back to a time where Black girls are dying right now. Black women are dying disproportionately, you know what I'm saying, from maternal health disparities. And now on top of it, because they can't receive reproductive care for children they wanted, mind you, they're dying as well. So no, I want to make sure that everyone has that opportunity to get good reproductive care. If they choose to have an abortion, they can do it in a clean and safe environment. If they are in a medical emergency and they need reproductive care, they receive it immediately and effectively, and it's great care so they don't lose their lives as well. So I just don't want to see another Black woman die because of neglect or because the states choose to subject them to arcane laws that will disempower them and have to have a doctor choose whether these folks live or die.
It's now 20 minutes after the hour, and we want to say thank you so much to tuning into Rolling on the Road to Victory, where we have done 10 shows. This makes number 11 on Get Out the Vote, and we're talking about the issues that are at stake when tomorrow is the final day to be able to go and vote. You've had the opportunity to do early voting, absentee voting, and tomorrow is the last time for us to be able to voice our opinions, our rights. And I'm excited because our guest today is Shanay Watson-Whitaker, Director of Reproductive Freedom for All, Michigan campaign. We've been kind of talking about what will happen with this Project 25. If you are watching via GRTV 25, today is Monday, and it is the 4th of November. Whew, the time has gone by very, very quickly, and you have about 1 day and 4.5 hours to vote. We want to say thank you to Shana Thomas for tuning in. She is all the way from Bel Air, Maryland. She says hello. She says, you are truly amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. She says, I understand and respect your decision. And she says, thank you for educating us and fighting for our rights. Now, mind you, we are in Michigan, but we air in all 50 states and in 10 countries. And so everyone in the United States, all 50 countries, will be voting on tomorrow. Those who are in the swing states, there are 7 of them, they will determine who will win the presidential election. And as of 5 days ago, it was determined by the officials that Michigan will determine who the next president will be. So it's extremely important that everyone in the state of Michigan that has the ability to vote, please get out and vote. If I have to come and get you in my wheelchair, you see this right here, I'll come and pick you up. All right, I'll just go toot my little horn that you know I'm outside, and I'll put you on my lap and wheel you right on down the street, wherever it is that you need to go. If you need an Uber, I'll pay for you to get an Uber, but you need to get out and vote. There is no excuse. Please get together with your friends, your family, and come up with your plan. You have had 10 shows to look at that talked about everything, took away all your excuses. Now you have no more excuse as to why you cannot vote. We thank you for all the hearts and the love. Thank you to Chris Holman for tuning in. I appreciate you for the hearts and the love. Thank you, Shana, for the love. I see the hearts and the thumbs up going up across my phone over here. I appreciate it. I really, really do. And again, we both, as you heard, if you didn't heard her the first time, please go back and watch the replay. You can watch it on YouTube, which I would prefer. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe over there on YouTube and hear her story of being saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized, and she's running for the Lord. Yes. And we can all have some testimony to close to that is a difficult decision. I was 15 when I had to I didn't make that decision. It was made for me. And I will never, ever, 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 ever forget. I was in Denver, Colorado, and it was on Vine Street is where I was taken. And I know I cried. It was a whole group of girls, and they all and women, and they kind of herd you in. You all get this big spiel, and then you go to this other waiting room, and you wait your turn. And then there was another room that had these like sleeper sofa, not a sleeper sofa, but what do you call them? Not an ottoman.
Yeah, them lazy boys. Yes.
Yeah, but they have these like chairs that fan out, and all the young ladies that had just had their procedure, they had them all around in a circle, and they have a person that tends to them. And I remember the lady saying to me that you don't have to do this if you don't want to. I said, you don't understand. I'm 15. I don't have a choice. You know, if your parents tell you this is what's going to happen, that's what has to happen. And I remember when they got me back, finally back in the room, the nurse, beautiful Black lady, she looked me dead in my face as the tears were streaming down. She said, the Lord knows that you are not of the age of accountability. And so you are not making this decision for yourself. Your parents will have to deal with having made this decision for you. But she said, but the Lord said that because you have to give up this one, when you get pregnant again, you're going to have twins. And I just was like, okay. I'm looking at her like, really? No, nobody's looking for that. And I'm not even thinking about that at 15. But I'm going to tell you, the Lord really, truly spoke through the lady, because I did have some scarring from the procedure at 15. So I was on active duty. They had to do surgery to clean me up. And sure enough, as soon as they did it, they told me to get on the pill. So I got on the pill, and I hadn't even finished the pack and was pregnant. Exactly 5 years from the time that she gave me that word. And you know, 5 is grace. I got pregnant. And I got pregnant with twins, a girl and a boy. I just said, oh my goodness.
I'm a twin too.
That woman, I said, if I could find her, all I could do was cry. I just said, God, I thank you. You know, you never know what the other person's situation is. And I am so grateful, because I look at what my life would have been had I had a baby at 15. You know, we were all the way in Denver. My stepmother was the only one working. They already had 2 children, and their baby was only not even 6 months old and a 3-year-old. And then they had me. And then you're talking about me having one. And I was just like, oh, okay. So Chris says, I have cancer and not able to drive. All right. You have adult people in your home. Hopefully they can get you out, or hopefully you had an opportunity, Secrest, to do absentee voting. And we are praying for you that this is not unto death, and that you can get the help that you need or undergo chemo, and all shall be well. And girl, you wear some fierce wigs, so we're not even worried about your hair falling out. You know that part. She got some bad wigs. I'll call them girlfriends.
I know that's right. I have a name for mine too. I know that's right.
I call them girlfriends.
I know that's right.
Girl, throw your girlfriend on and have somebody have one of them grown people take you up there to the polling site. I know me personally, I am going to the polls. I look at who I represent. As I wheel down this road and go right on down the street, the number of people that I represent, as I wheel myself down there with pride and honor, with my big old United States Navy decal on the back of my chair that says Bentley. Unmute yourself so we can hear the clap and the snaps.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do. Amen.
Look, Shana, look, see, we go. I tell you, Shana says, Secrest, you could have mailed in your vote. Now, you know, if we lose by 1 vote, whose fault is it? Secrest.
Now, the NAACP is offering free rides to the polls too. So if there's any need for that, just let us know, and then I'll make sure that we get that to you. I know that my husband's organization, they're offering rides to the polls as well. So I can definitely work on that if that's needed.
What is his organization?
His organization is Michigan United Action and Michigan United. So they're also based in Grand Rapids. They have offices in Grand Rapids and Saginaw and Flint, in Kalamazoo and Detroit.
I can't type that fast no more.
I'm sorry, Michigan United.
Okay, Michigan United.
Yep, and they're in Grand Rapids, so all you have to do is just give them a call. If you go to their website, their number is right there, and we can make sure that she gets a ride to the polls.
All right, you see that? So yes, you guys Google it. Okay, y'all gonna make me Google it, right? Michigan.
Now, yeah, and what I'll do is after this is over, I'll make sure that you have that information, and if she prefers a lift code, I can make sure she gets a lift code for a ride as well. Now, there's supposed to be accommodations, so if she was to just drive up, someone can give her the ballot so she can fill it out so she doesn't have to get out her car, too.
She says she doesn't drive.
Okay, so we want to make sure we get her a ride.
Oh. There we go. Oh, there it comes. Go, Kimmy. Go, Kimmy. All right, there you go. Michigan is michiganunited.org.
Yes. And if you call that number, my husband's going to pick up. the executive director, Ken Whitaker, he will pick up.
Woohoo!
We'll make sure you have good service and make sure we get you to the polls. And if anybody else needs rides to the polls in Grand Rapids and Kent County, we can make sure that they're okay and taken care of.
Do you have, you said there's a code to the lift for people to
call? There are lift codes. Right. And I'll do that. That's going to be offline. I'll send it to you offline.
So you're going to make me do double work.
My bad.
See, the people are right here right now. So, you know, I'm just saying. Y'all,
if you can give me 30 seconds, I'll have my husband send it to you. Hold on.
See, we working on it. We working on it. All right, Secrest, we're going to get you a ride if you are able to get up and go to the poll. Get your soul to the poll.
All right, he's on it right now. So as soon as he comes right back down, I'll have that information.
Are you in Grand Rapids now or he's in Detroit?
No, he's in Detroit. He'll be in Grand Rapids. He'll be all over the state tomorrow. He usually goes from different site to site to site. So he's the big boss.
She said he's the big boss.
He is.
All right. I like the way she, wait a minute. Y'all, did y'all see that she reared back to my, he is, yes. Bring your
See,
mind
that's the way it's supposed to be. Well, almost 20 years married. That's what we're going to do. I'm still feeling that. Hey,
Woo,
6 kids later, 2 grandkids now. That's it. Yes.
Look, she said this is great. Thank you, Shada.
I got a lot of personality. So.
Your personality plus my personality is the blended family.
Oh, exactly.
Yes. Secrest said, okay. So Secrest, we about to get you the code so that you can take a lift if you feeling well.
Yes.
And we're gonna get you a lift to the poll. And see, this is why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we do what we do. Because you know, ain't nobody else doing this and making sure that you get to where you need to be and make sure you have all the information that you need. I haven't seen it. I have not seen it. And somebody has to take the time to educate, because if you don't, you'll fall for the okie doke that they're trying to tell you on here again. Mm-hmm. Look, what they do? This is the church of God in Christ.
Yes.
You can join in. You got to be born in. This is the church of God in Christ. Okay. Only those who no. And yet we got to go and get stuff, stuff happens.
Mm-hmm. Praise God.
Both my parents, she was an associate minister, he was an elder, and they was driving me to the clinic. We ain't even gonna talk about embarrassment. And then my mama was like, oh, you're not about to embarrass me. I'm gonna send you out there and be with your daddy. Y'all remember how it used to be?
Yeah.
Stay with Aunt Bam, who lived down south, and you come back and y'all family got a new little brother or sister, and you got raised with your own child your whole life.
Yep. Yep.
If you
Yep.
was too
That's what
far
happened.
along, you
That's
know,
right.
if you was too far along to go to, they didn't even have a clinic back then. You went to the lady.
Yep. You did. You sure did. You sure did. You sure did.
And hopefully sterilize stuff.
But you know what? I also want to, with getting back to Project 2025, and you just touched on something. What folks aren't realizing, like that, if Trump is elected and Project 2025 is enacted and implemented, the Department of Justice can take legal action against officials who refuse to prosecute women. So we have elected officials, for example, here in the state of Michigan, we have Dana Nessel. So if she is pro-choice, she was a very big supporter of reproductive freedom. She's a reproductive freedom champion. So a person like her the federal government can take action against her. And that's something that's scary. And let me say one more thing. You know, if we do have that person as president, 1,380,000 Michiganders will lose like guaranteed access to emergency contraception. We talk about that, you know, with folks. That's a lot. And people do, you know, they sometimes things happen and people need that emergency contraception, but there's also other times where tragic things happen and people need that emergency contraception. So we have to think about that as well. You know, I don't want, like I said, politicians in my business. I've got 4 girls and 2 boys. I'm blessed to have 2 beautiful grandsons. I don't want a politician in my daughter's business. I don't want anybody in there. When my daughter became pregnant with my youngest grandson, the first person she told was me. And I was elated. I don't want.
Oh, right?
Yeah, right. Mama, she told me, and I was just through the moon and happy and excited.
And mine came up to me. She said, "Mom," I said, "You pregnant? How you know?" I said, "Because I'm a mother." And I was like,
Yep.
"Yes."
That's exactly how it went. She's like, "Mom, I got something to tell you." And I said, "You pregnant?" She said, "Yep." And I was just over the moon, happy.
And he's 14 now. He's my very first. Yes.
Yeah.
So Chris says, "Okay, we got you, so Chris." She said, "Okay."
Yep. I'm working on it right now.
See, this is how we do. This is what I love about rolling, is that we're here for you. We are definitely here for you. And whatever it is that you need, we're going to make sure. Oh, yes. And I have to give out apologies to all of you who saw Making Choices with Dr. Thurston Willoughby. He forgot to order more books. He realized he didn't have enough for everyone who was supposed to get a book. And so he has now ordered them. He is signing them. And you guys will have them, of course, after we're finished with this election. So your books are on the way about choices. So thank you so much for your patience. And thank you to the viewer who reminded me, said, "Hey, I didn't get my book." I was like, "You didn't get your book?" And so I reached out to him and he immediately apologized. And you'll be getting your books. All right. It is now 38 minutes after the hour. Oh my goodness. Time is flying. But that's what happens when you're having so much fun and you have such a great guest. Yes, my new friend girl, y'all. My new friend girl. I keep telling you, we want to hear the snaps and the claps.
Yeah, I just don't want to be rude. That's all. I'm old school.
It's not. You could do all that here.
Yes.
You could do
Yep,
all that.
I'm on it. Make sure that Seacrest has that information. So I did actually go to other networks as well. So I want to make sure I always do more than one person. I'll span my entire network to get that answer that I need. So I'm going to make sure that we're on it when it comes to getting folks to the polls. So if you know anybody else who needs a ride to the polls, please, please, please let me know. It's so important that we get folks out and voting and making sure that they're okay and their vote is counted. I don't know about you. I also think about the ancestors. I think about the folks that, came before us and who died and who sacrificed themselves, their body to make sure that I have the right to vote. I'm not ashamed to say that I look towards what they've done, and it inspires me to continue the work that I do to make sure that we all have, we have access to democracy, that we have access to voting, and that our votes aren't taken away from us. So I'm gonna just keep on keeping on. As my husband's grandma says, she's 101. Keep on keeping on and making sure that everyone has access to vote.
That's all. Thank you, Heidi. Heidi says, hey, Doc. And she says, great topic on today. I appreciate you. Heidi, how are you getting to the polls? I love her. We even did a show that if you needed accessibility, just reach out to us. And whether it's visually impaired, hearing impaired, physically, that we can make sure that you have everything you need. There is no excuse not to vote. Did we say that? Yeah. There's just no excuse not to vote. The other thing that people need to understand with this Project 25, that if you are currently undergoing in vitro fertilization, IVF, you will not be able to do that. It will not be a choice for you any longer. Yeah. So unfortunately, those who want children, trying to have children, and that's the route that you're going with Project 25, you will no longer have that.
And I'm going to take off, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm going to take off my reproductive freedom hat and put on my mom hat. I have a daughter who's on the spectrum. She's currently a federal employee. 18.9% of federal employees are African American. For many of us, that was our way into the middle class through those government jobs.
Oh, yeah.
And for a person like my daughter who is on the spectrum, she's a Black woman, her federal job gave her an opportunity that she felt like she wouldn't get in the private sector. So in Project 2025, Trump wants to put in place of federal employees loyalists to him, loyalists to people with his philosophy. That's not right. So a person like my daughter, who is a Black woman on the spectrum, who is not a sycophant. She's political like mom, but she's not as political. She doesn't worship Trump or anything like that. She's at risk of losing her job. And for many African Americans who are not on the side of Project 2025, their jobs are at risk too. So I just want to say that the impact of Black folks getting into the middle class through federal jobs is at risk as well. And for many of us growing up, we were taught, you apply for a federal job or you apply for a government job. There was a reason why, because of upward mobility. And I don't want that to end for folks, specifically people who are like my daughter, who are coming up, young and coming up and having opportunities that she would not have in the private sector. So I just want folks to think about that as well. We talk about the middle class and whatnot and getting into the middle class. This is her opportunity as a young person to be in the middle class. She has a degree in everything. She's in school for her master's, and she wants to be a certified public accountant. So she's working hard every day. But I just want to talk about that as well. And I'll take off my mom hat and go back to Repro Freedom hat. But that's also something to think about as well.
Yeah, we do have a comment from Heidi. As a person with a disability, I vote for folks with disabilities who are not allowed to vote. So the public knows we as folks with disabilities can and will vote. And we also educate ourselves on the issue. And she said that I am going to my precinct polls building via Go Bus. I have my ride reserved already. I love it.
Same.
Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
I appreciate you. So again, we are taking away all of your excuses of why you cannot vote. We done found you a ride. We didn't explain all the issues to you. And another big one that we talked about last week is that you can vote for less. So if you don't want to choose a president, you don't have to, but you need to elect your local officials. You need to elect your judges. Make sure you turn your ballot over to the nonpartisan side. Michigan, well, over here on the west side, we are, well, yeah, okay, I'll say we. They're voting for a new mayor. So that's part of the nonpartisan side. Okay, Heidi says, I would have voted early, but the bus goes that far. Okay, it doesn't go out that far. And yes, thank you, Heidi. So don't let her show you up. You got a car. She got the call for a ride to go bus. And you got a car sitting there in the garage, parked on the street. Parked with your
Ain't no
grandma.
excuses. We're gonna take our 101-year-old grandma to the polls tomorrow.
I love it. And so not girl, you made me forget what I was saying, Heidi. But this is what I will say. There was a time when you had to pay to vote. It was $2. And there is a lady. I gotta find that picture again. And I saw the picture real quick. She made a t-shirt out of her receipt from where she had to pay to vote. And she said, so many times, they didn't vote because $2 was a lot of money. Either you had that $2 to help feed your family, or were you going to vote? So you need to think about some of the things that, folks had to go through, whether you had to choose to, feed your family or vote for how high your food gonna cost. That's really, now that make me cry. I see it. I will start crying. What did she say? I said, that's how change happens when you vote for your local folks. That's it. Because it determines how much money comes into your community. And, we like to live in our own community. And she said, cool for your grandma voting.
Yes.
She said, cool for your grandma.
Yeah, she's never missed an election in her entire life since she's been able to vote. And I'll say this, that, the back of the ballot, I tell folks, flip the script, vote the full ballot. So you vote the full ballot because that's where the rubber meets the road. I tell folks, and I've worked in municipal government, your budget is your values. So also examine what they want to invest in. If it's education, if it's childcare, if it's the environment, things like that, if it's policing, if it's public safety, you'll see that as well. So just make sure you vote the full ballot. Do not let folks slide. I don't care. You start voting locally, that becomes a habit forming as well. And that's where you're directly impacted by policy. So folks, please vote the full ballot, vote the courts as well. I know who I'm supporting for that. I'll keep it C3 a little bit, but yeah, definitely vote the full ballot. Do not forget those local folks. They're the ones who determine where the money goes within your city, in your community.
I mean, we started out our very first show. Our guest on that day made it very, very clear that if you don't vote for the president, make sure that you vote for your local officials because they impact your daily living. We also had, then the next day, our next viewer said, vote for those who relate to how you live every day. And these came from young men in their 30s. So they're paying attention. But yep, we learned that you can vote for less people on the ballot. You just can't vote for more people on the ballot. So if it says select no more than 3, only pick 3, but you can pick 2 if you want to. If you only know 1, just pick that 1, and you still have time to go to, we were told, vote.org is where you can go and you put in your county and you find out who's on the ballot and what they stand for. And Heidi says, my grandma was a trip. She watched the news religiously and knew what was going on. Mine too. Mine
Same
too.
as mine. Yep.
And she voted absentee ballot. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what are you doing? And she said she would be so excited because she had the right to vote because they were sharecroppers. So they didn't get to do all of that.
That's right.
And I think she only had like a second or a third grade education. So
yeah,
many folks have died for these rights and these freedoms, whether it was accessing health care or if it was just trying to get to the polls or even having a meeting to find out what the candidate stood for.
Mm-hmm.
That part right there.
Yeah.
Don't let it have been in vain. Don't let it
Our ancestors fought too hard for this. They did. They sacrificed so much. They did.
I can imagine having to pay to vote. But that was just another way to keep us out.
It sure was.
Just
It sure was. And again, getting back, if our reproductive rights can be taken away, what's next? What's next? Something that's been in place for 50 years. What's next? And that's what I remind folks. What we fought so hard for, even if you think about the decimation of the Voting Rights Act by the U.S. Supreme Court, that the slow drain, the slow withering away of those rights that our ancestors fought so hard for. It's all in the same vein. It's all connected, interconnected to what folks want to do and that where they want to take us. You have folks saying that, the best time in the country was the 1890s or something like that. And
wait a minute. We got a great comment about that. So Heidi says her grandmother was born at the turn of the century. So it was a wonder she was that interested in that stuff. She was also raised on the farmhouse tours, but she never voted a day in her life. My mom offered to get her on the absentee ballot, but nope, she wasn't going to do it. So she didn't want to vote. Did I get that right?
Sounds like that, yeah. And even think about all the women who sacrificed themselves for the right to vote, and sacrificed their livelihoods for the right to vote as well. So we just, I can't imagine not voting, and I can't imagine not honoring those ancestors who made a path for me a little bit easier than what they went through.
I can't imagine it. Just no. She says she didn't want to vote. She says no, she didn't. She said no, she did not vote and did not want to vote. Wow. Well, I will say that she said I asked her why once. Well, you can't say that your vote won't count in this election. That is not an excuse, because your vote will definitely count. If it never counted ever before, it will count by the end of tomorrow, by 8 o'clock. They're going to be scraping up, looking for people. Please come and vote. We need you. Need you.
Yes, indeed. Amen. We do. We need you. We do.
It is 7 minutes until the 5 o'clock hour. I cannot. She said if they weren't, this was her response. She said if they aren't all crooked when they go into office, they are when they come out.
Well, they went in, that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my husband said it right. They were crooked when they went in, if that's the case. Yeah, I understand that. And I can say this. I've worked for elected officials in my...
All the politicians lied all the time.
I'll say this. I've worked for a couple of politicians in my life. Yes, there are folks that are out there, but there are also some very good people who just want to make their voices heard. It takes a lot to run for office. It takes a lot to be vulnerable. It takes a
Who
lot
you
to serve people. It
trust
does.
me. Trust me. This was not easy. Shayna says, yes, I agree. What are we agreeing to, Shayna, about they think that politicians lie or that they crooked? Because I know who I am, and I know who I am when I went in and who I would be, after. And there is absolutely nothing that they could offer me for me to move away from who I am. Because see, first of all,
Mhm.
you got to know who you are and whose you are before you even go into that office. Okay, that right there, you need to know who you are and whose you are. I know who I
That's
am.
right.
I know whose I am, and so I already own my home. I have my own money. Drive nice, everything. So there wasn't anything that they could offer me. I got about 10, 12 pairs of Rhea bottom shoes, so it's not, you can't offer me no lifestyle. I have a lifestyle. I came into this, with a lifestyle. And that's
Some of
usually what
us,
it's like
I'm-
you're looking for something that you've never had. But if you already have it, you can't give me something I already have.
that's right. That's right. And some of us just have a calling.
Look,
And
she
some of us,
said, oh, Heidi said, I would trust that. I could vote for her. Thank you.
I know that's right. Yep. And
And
like
he
yep.
said, not all, but most are both. And then Heidi says, but Doc, you and I know some folks I don't trust. Oh, yeah, I know you
Yeah.
very well, Heidi. We have gone to legislative day. And so I know we have been in Lansing, and I still talk to all the higher ups. I do. I talk to everybody, and I'm
Hmm.
at everything. You're gonna see my face. And one of the things that I made a decision about is that we're doing all of this, get out the vote. But you know what? In 6 months, all these folks that got put in office around the state of Michigan and in other states, we're checking on them.
You know what? Bump that 6 months. Actually, the day of, because the first things what happens is, and folks don't realize, is that orientation, they're already being wined and dined by lobbyists. That's what happens. The
Yeah.
first day they're in orientation, that happens in December. They have the lobbyists are there. They're already having conversations. Folks are actually positioning themselves into certain leadership positions, to certain
Oh, I
committees
got
and
my
whatnot.
letter. Okay, so the election was November. In October, I got my letter saying that if I won my seat on November 8th, because that day, November 8th was the Tuesday, that first Tuesday fell on the 8th of November. So
Hmm.
I got my letter in October that said, hey, Dr. Kimberly, you win this seat. This is when orientation starts. You need to show up by this time. Here's a list of committees. You need to start choosing what committees that you want to be on. And I started
Hmm.
looking at everything and I said, oh, okay. So, and then they told me how much the budget would be. They told me how much I would get paid. They told me what my budget would be, that they already had people lined up for staff. And either I could have the staff that they chose, or there was a pool that I could choose from. So
Hmm.
everything was just right there. And I said, wow, you guys really make this easy just to kind of step into. And when you think about that type of power that everybody is just throwing all this stuff at you, I was like, God, I thank you that I know who I am. And I'm like, I'm doing that already. I got people doing stuff, well, I'm in a wheelchair, so I already got folks and I already have staff with the VA
Hmm.
set up that I'm the quote unquote employer, and I employ those who will assist me in all that I need to do. So I'm like, all I'm doing is just transferring it into another area. And the comment is, she says, yes, ma'am. Some of them folks don't even have to say a word, can just tell by the walk they have a certain look in there. You know what? Heidi, 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 Heidi. So you mean to tell me that you could tell by the way I roll in my wheelchair that I'm trustworthy? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. But I say 6 months because that's how long it's probably going to take me to get around, get everybody who has what. And yep, I know all those things are in place because I saw it for myself, running for state rep. Then they even tell you what building you're going to be in, if you need parking, how you can get an apartment, all that other kind of stuff. My husband said, you get anything, I'm going to make sure that they got down there for two, because this ain't no solo act.
Amen.
So, I could see how things can happen very easily if you are not prepared for what's to come. And if you've never had anything, never been exposed to anything, then absolutely. If you've never been treated like a king and never been treated like a queen, then you're going to lose your mind when you see all this stuff. I love it. I get front of the line service. Is it because I'm in a wheelchair? Is it because I'm Dr. Kimberly? Or, I don't care. I'm going to the front of the line. That's about the only abuse of power.
I know that's right.
Is and get people to fix my place. She said it's true. Who these folks are, cocky little. Ooh, here we go. We got to keep it clean. We just now after 5 o'clock. It's 5:01. Okay, we got to. I need to read first before I put up now, because see, I didn't poke the hornet's nest with her.
Heidi needs to get up on the show.
We didn't poke the hornet's nest. But I just say, there's other things that are happening in between. We got to do Martin Luther King. I'm doing pastors. What are they doing to live out the dream? Then, February is Heart Healthy Month. And I had a heart attack, recovered. So, we're going to do that. March is Women's History Month. And got some great women lined up who've done some wonderful things. So that's the first 3 months right there. Plus my other stuff that I got to do. But I'm watching.
Now, if VP is elected, just to let you know, Inauguration Day is Dr. King Day.
I know. She said it helps. It also helps when you make friends with some of the other legislators and they tell you things about their coworkers, and it's not exactly you. Now that is true. That right there is true. And yes, I am. She said, just verify. You know what, Heidi? I'm not putting that up there. I can't. I'm trying to stay online. It's good. I didn't made it 4 years, and these people ain't booted me off yet. So, and they let me go. They air my show on TV. So, hey. But I love you. I feel the love. She said that's okay. But you know that I know that that we all know. We got the inside scoop. But I do appreciate, I will say, John Fitzgerald. Yup, I'm putting his name out there, state rep, running for Wyoming over here, because I said I need one of his field director. I needed him to come on. She said I could deal with you not putting. Okay, thank you. She said, oh yeah. That I said to him, so I asked his field director first if he could come on the show. And I said, I realize that it's election time. I know you guys are busy. And with being the field director, that's major. And he said, I just have to check with my boss. How long is it? 15, 20 minutes? I said, no, I need an hour. And we kind of went back and forth. And then I just went straight to Fitzgerald and I said, hey, I need that young man to be on my show. He said he's on it. What time does he need to be there? It's things like that that make the difference for me. What is you doing? What does that look for? What does that look for?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, no. See, I have my husband looking at me.
I'm gonna need y'all. I need him to close his very white mouth Because I keep hearing her. Look, I'm talking to her and making Google eyes at her. She ain't functioning right. She ain't functioning.
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna let her go.
All
But
right. Well, thank you.
y'all heard it here from the Project 25.
Yes.
Please give the people your final words before they vote tomorrow.
Just, look up to Project 2025. It's on our website at reproductivefreedomforall.org. You can find it there on what it means for folks who are interested in reproductive and protecting their reproductive freedom as well. So we just have a lot of work to do. I'm hoping folks go out and vote and exercise their right to vote, because we've been inundated with crazy commercials and mailers and everything. And this is our chance, our opportunity to respond to all of that we've gotten in the last 6 weeks. So again, just go out to vote, please. And thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Kimberly, for having me on. And just let's honor our ancestors and get it done. Thank you.
Heidi says, Shanay, I've been on with the doc before, and she knows she gets the unvarnished truth from me, so I don't get asked back very often.
Heidi! Find me on Facebook, Heidi. I'm going to be your friend. Please. Let's do it. I like you.
I'm going to put y'all two together.
Please. Please.
I
don't drink, but we can sit back and we can have a good time. Let's go.
I do. She said, you got it, Shanay. But I do appreciate Heidi, because you need folks to tell the unvarnished truth. You really do. And here on Rolling, we do absolutely that. We allow you the space and the grace to be who it is that you've been called to be. And with respect to other persons, because I would like to come back, the next day. So I tried, not to go too far left, but just far enough either to the right or to the left to know that we stand for the truth around here. And
amen.
No licking, no boots. We're not doing that. Not at all.
Same. That's why everybody don't like me. And that's okay, because I'm going to just tell you what it is.
That's it. And tune in tomorrow when our final Get Out the Vote guest is going to be Captain Kathy Williams of the Grand Rapids Police Department. Just in case folks want to act a fool, she said, I have a commentary on a former legislator, but I'm going to leave it alone. Yes, leave it alone, Heidi. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. God can handle it better than you can. Now leave it alone. Okay. That's my little sis. But tomorrow we have Grand Rapids Police Department Captain Kathy Williams, who's going to talk about some of the safety measures that they have in place so that you can go and vote on tomorrow. We do have poll watchers and naysayers, and we got some folks in place, and we ready. And I cannot wait to run over somebody pinky toe with my wheelchair. Yes, I said it. Please get in. And we had Dr. Alyssa Carter tell us how to stay safe, keep it on 10 and 2, just in case they want to stop you. Just because somebody has a badge doesn't mean that they agree with everything, and they do have their own personal opinions and can use their position to intimidate or bully you. But y'all keep it on 10 and 2 and make sure you call somebody and say, hey, I've been stopped. This is where I am. That should be your first thing. As they pull it, the lights are flashing. Most people have a car that's up to date that you can call mama, call cousin of them, call Pookie. What? She said, sounds like something Dwayne would do in terms of a wheelchair drive-by. Oh my God. Oh my God. I remember that too. That he ran over Governor Engler's foot with his wheelchair on purpose by accident. Yes. Yup. I remember. He caught them totos that shoo. I'm
I
just
know
saying,
that's right.
but I'm excited to hear what they have in place for tomorrow, and that they're thinking ahead of time and they're being proactive and not reactive. But I want to say thank you to Miss Shanay.
Thank
I
you.
see that we got some new friends, Heidi, to hang out with.
Yes, you do. I'll be in GR very soon.
Talking about Engler wouldn't answer the question, so Dwayne ran him up. Okay. This why Heidi, we have to rein in the conversation. The people don't need to know all the stuff. Heidi, we gotta have some secrets. But anyway, thank you. And tomorrow be our last get out the vote, and then I'm doing a little staycation because I'm going to the parties tomorrow.
I know that's right.
I'm going to the victory party.
Not me. I'm going to bed. I'll be at the counting board and then I'll go to bed because I deal with the vote counts and making sure everything's folks' rights are protected and their votes are counted.
We love it. We love you. We appreciate you. Y'all heard it here first. That you got somebody here who is going to count your vote, so your vote will be counted. Get out and vote. Did I say that? Get out and vote. Do I need to sign language it? Get out and vote. All right. See y'all tomorrow. Same time, same station.
Thank you. Bye-bye.